Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolebarger. It's time for our KFIR Middle East update. The date is February 25th, 2016. Let's jump right in. Before we do, just a reminder, make sure that you go to our website at holygroundexplorations.com. And when you get there, look at the top, you'll see what says blog. Click there and you will find a PDF PowerPoint of this presentation. And I think it's important for you to be able to see the visuals that we offer there to go along with this YouTube video as well. And so make sure you access that. Oftentimes there's more information on the PowerPoint than we can squeeze into the time that we have on YouTube. So check it out. Again, holygroundexplorations.com. Okay, headlines this week. The Chief of Staff has decided that soldiers will carry weapons while they're on leave. This decision came after the last tragedy when a Nahal Brigade soldier, Staff Sergeant Tuvia Weissman, was murdered in a terrorist attack on leave, while he was on leave and at home. It's important to realize that when you're in Israel, the one thing that you will notice is that many IDFers are carrying their weapons, and believe it or not, it makes it a much safer environment. Terrorism Victims Advocacy Group talks about the benefits of having armed off-duty soldiers. It outweighs the risk of stolen weapons or whatever. So it's actually a good thing. And then let's go to Obama. Did you realize that Netanyahu is coming to the United States, and just so happens that Obama's planning to visit Cuba at that time, some say just to avoid Netanyahu. And then Shin Bet, an interview with one of the leading news sources in Israel. It's called Israel Hayom, or Israel Today. The former Shin Bet director, Diker, has said, quote, and this is in regards to the terror tunnels in Gaza, with wise action, the defense establishment in general and the IDF in particular will be able to turn the tunnels of Gaza into the largest Hamas cemetery of all time. The only reason we bring this up is that this is truly an ongoing thing. When we talk about the different threats to Israel, whether it be what's going on the Syrian border with ISIS creeping closer and closer, or the Lebanese border with Hezbollah that's sort of turning tail and licking their wounds. The best thing that they can always do to beef up morale is to start rattling their sabers against Israel. And we do know that they have not just tens, but probably 50 to 70,000 rockets in their arsenal. So again, whether it's Hamas in Gaza or Hezbollah or ISIS, Israel truly always has to be vigilant. And then, we get into this whole thing about the poor Palestinians and why can't we just get along? Why can't we just have peace? Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, his Fatah movement declared that, as I mentioned, this soldier with a family that was killed last week, again, what do? They basically elevate this killer into a heroic martyr status. Again, as I mentioned, it's important that you get the PowerPoint, because especially on this next one, these are two slides of billboards. One on buses. Over 500 buses in London carried this billboard, and the one below it, boycott Israel until Palestinians have equal rights, stop funding apartheid.org, Chicago. So again, We see the rise of anti-Semitism. We see people who need more education to know really what's going on. I guess there's a silver lining to all of this. There was enough opposition to these that they've both been taken down. Now, we've talked over the last few weeks about the BDS movement, and we've talked about, and this really is a visual for you to see. There's two labels of wines that in vineyards that are in Israel, but they're in what's called, I would call it the heartland of Israel, but of course today the media refers to it as the West Bank. And so you can see on these labels where it says the product of Israel, it's literally crossed out, and what's written in is West Bank. So in an increasingly anti-Israel Europe, this type of labeling could lead to sweeping damages to Israel's economy. Anti-Israel boycotts deflect attention from the real obstacles to peace and from the real opportunities to achieve it. So you're going to hear about some key things really over the next months. We've already talked about the threats, whether it be Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, or ISIS. You're aware of those. But the hotbed issues are going to be three things. It's going to be a battle for Jerusalem. It's going to be the BDS movement. And it's going to be the whole issue of the so-called settlements. The quote of the week from a right-wing Zionist, by the way, I might put that out there. He says, "This is the Jewish nation, the nation of Israel, and we, the Christians, must protect her and protect the freedoms we Christians have here in Israel. We Christians should be protecting this holy land, which is the source of our Christian faith." This is a quote from Gabriel Nadaf, who's a spokesperson for the Greek Orthodox Church. And this is the message that he gave to the European Parliament for an emergency, I guess you would say, situation that's developing because of the fast-moving anti-Semitism that's spreading throughout all of Europe. And the bottom line is that Europe, whether they realize it or not, has been actively helping the Arabs to destroy the Jewish state. Now let's focus in on Iran. You know, millions of Iranians took to the streets last Thursday to celebrate the anniversary of the 1979 Islamic Revolution. And part of the event included the parading of mock, quote, captured American sailors. Protesters burned the American and Israeli flags, and they chanted, you guessed it, "Death to America, death to Israel." Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, awarded medals to the Navy commanders for capturing the U.S. sailors who entered the Iranian territorial waters last month, and a video was released showing one of the Americans crying and sobbing. Again, you'll see the picture here in the PowerPoint of Iranians that are parading these mock U.S. soldiers in chains throughout the streets of Tehran. Aren't you glad we made that deal with them? Truly, truly monumental, peace partner, right? Well, let's talk a little bit more about Iran and their cash flow. Now that they have over $150 billion of sanction money that's been released, what have they done? Iran has pledged thousands of dollars for Palestinian terrorists. Listen to this carefully. Tehran, flush with cash from the sanction reliefs, will give slain attackers' families $7,000, an envoy said. And any family that's had a home demolished, they will give $30,000. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Thursday has urged the world to condemn Iran for providing financial support to the families of Palestinian terrorists. The Prime Minister also, to anyone who has an ear to hear, is calling upon the international community to denounce the Palestinian incitement, which he said is the #1 cause of terrorism. And then something that I want you to listen to this report, because I want you to see what's embedded in it. It's truly a double standard. So listen carefully, see if you can extract that. This is the tragic death of this young couple, this Israeli soldier that was killed in a Rami Levy supermarket. The United States said on Friday that Tuvia Yanai Weissman, an off-duty Israel soldier who was stabbed to death in a Palestinian terror attack on Thursday, that he was an American citizen. He was 21 years old, married, had a 4-month-old daughter, and he was laid to rest in Jerusalem last Friday. Here's our comment. Listen carefully. We condemn in the strongest possible terms the attack that took place yesterday in the West Bank that resulted in the death of U.S. citizen Weissman, said the statement from Toner. And then it goes on, quote, there is no justification for terrorism. The statement said, quote, this horrific incident again underscores the need for all sides to reject violence and urgently take steps to restore calm, reduce tensions, and bring an immediate end to violence. Did you notice that there was nothing focused on Palestinian terror? That the comment basically said we're calling on all sides to reduce the tensions. Can somebody please tell me what Israel has done in ramping up these tensions? It goes back to some of these misleading headlines that our media projects, such as 2 Palestinians killed in latest Mideast incident. You have to read the story to realize they were shot and killed because they were in the midst of a stabbing attack. But once again, the blame falls on Israel. Can't you just sort of reduce the tensions? I mean, it makes my blood boil what's actually going on. It's truly a double standard. And then as I mentioned some of these key items, I said one of them would be the dividing of Jerusalem. Make sure you see this screen. Take a look at the picture of what these lines would be and understand that if Jerusalem is divided, that every place that you would want to go as a Christian pilgrim to the Holy Land would be inside of Palestine. Look at the pictures. Okay, the partition may bring about a demographic calamity in the city. It possibly would dilute the Jewish majority rather than bolstering it, and ultimately make things much worse than any better. It would really impact the Christian and Jewish holy sites. They would be in the hands of the Arabs and the Palestinians. The article goes on to say, let's stay away from those false prophets who advocate partition and act to retain the unity of the city conceptually and practically. And I love this quote from Netanyahu. Many years ago, Prime Minister, actually this is from Menachem Begin. Many years ago, Prime Minister Menachem Begin observed that, quote, Jerusalem has watched over the people of Israel more than the people of Israel have watched over Jerusalem. Now it is time to explain to our children how Jerusalem watched over us and why we owe it so much. And then as I mentioned Netanyahu, his quote, we will protect Jerusalem because Israel without Jerusalem is like a body without a heart. The Prime Minister said on this hill, he was at Ammunition Hill, 45 years ago, the united heart of our people began to beat again with full power. Our heart will never be divided again. Let me encourage you to go to our website. On our website, when you click that blog button, you'll also find a PowerPoint that's called The Battle for Jerusalem. Again, that's holygroundexplorations.com. Click the blog button, and there's a couple other teaching PowerPoints that are there. So that's our report for this week. We pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We pray for the opening of the prison doors that are slammed shut by Islam. So with that, shalom and God bless you all.